Coffee. Good morning, everybody. As you can tell by the title of this lovely broadcast, and the fact that I am sitting here in my own master control room from which I govern the known universe. Well, no, I don't. But I said, screw that. Yeah, I'm staying home. Yeah, sure, I'll suck an AWOL for it, but I'm working all the way through Saturday this week as well. So it's not like it's going to be a major sacrifice. Okay. But how's everybody doing? What's everybody up to this morning? For those of you who are not aware or have just plain blind or have not properly adjusted your visual devices, yes, I have began the deforesting of planet Baldus, which I do every spring or so, or sometimes early summer. And now I got to go break out the head shaver and keep this dome polished. Well, which I'll probably do, but and then as it get towards the end of summer, I'll let it grow back out, and then you go through winter and yada yada yada. You know the whole cycle. I'm sure I'll be getting calls from like Al Gore because I wiped out the spotted owl or whatever the hell it was living in the back of my head. But or Greta Thunberg will say there's global cooling or warming or whatever now on planet Baldus. I don't give a shit. It still amazes me how people are still going off on that. It's like, guys, look at the history of the planet you're sitting on. Where I'm sitting right now, for you folks who are not aware, about 12,000 years ago, was underneath an ice sheet over a mile thick. Yes, that's thicker than the average politician's head. All right, and you think, caveman driving Humvees was responsible for those ice sheets melting? No. Also, I'm still dying laughing as I went back and double checked some things. Back when this whole thing began, nobody bothered to even mention that the ice caps on Mars were melting. And I think they still are slowly melting, which means we're making some kick-ass SUVs if we're melting the atmosphere over on the planet next door. Oh, well. But that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, we do need to monitor our pollution. Yes, we do need to monitor our environment. But considering how many environmental regulations we currently have in place here in the US of A, and there are some places in the US of A that can do better. When you look at like China, where sticking your head out of the window in Beijing for 5 minutes will probably give you lung cancer. Ugh. All right, so what's going on in the universe? Like I said, I just decided after all the junk that went on Saturday this week, I was like, nah, I'm not going to Monday. I even told my group leader I won't be here Monday because I don't like the things that were going on. I'm not going to go into any particular details. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. It's just there was a whole lot of, well, I'm going to get demonetized anyway because I said one of the 15,000 dirty words on YouTube probably. There was a whole lot of fuckery going on. And I just didn't want to even be anywhere near that plant for at least 48 hours. Okay, it just that video was actually from you can see the date on it, the date stamp on it. And I had what until later, when Lady G told me that what you call it, that camera had been kind of on and off because of our wireless. I'm still looking at getting a wireless hub or a wireless extender, but at the same time, most of them, the whole damn neighborhood could hijack my wireless if I got some of these things. Oh, plus the fact we're in a brick house, so that can affect transmission. Well, like I said, it wasn't a last minute decision. After I walked out of work on Saturday. I was like, screw it, I'm not going in. I even told some people, look, I'm not going in Monday. There was just some things that went on Saturday that, like I said, I don't want to describe. It was just a whole lot of nonsense. It just amazes me how many people will bend over for the corporate dollar. It really is. It really does. And, but at the same time, it shouldn't amaze me. I shouldn't be surprised. Okay, The Will. I want to go back and rewatch the ending because I think I did miss part of it. So I want to, I thought I caught it on the re-air, but like I said, it was right after after I've been at work all day. Like I said, there are just some days where I can't stay focused on something for an hour at a time anymore. I'm like, I'm gone. Okay, I'm out cold, and it wasn't the episode's fault. It was the fact that I was really, really tired. And let me see. Let me check around. I don't think there was anything major that was really, really, getting my goat. Or for you folks who do know, yeah, that it was yesterday. That's right. It was RTD, I believe, in Jenna Coleman's birthday. She's a crone now at age 39. All right, I'm on the wrong thing. All right, hang on. There we go. I see. That's one thing. They keep alluding to the fact something's gone, wrong with the Earth, but all we know is there was a bunch of debris, and that's the last we've seen of it. Also, I am starting to agree with the point about Mrs. Flood. What does she do other than pop up occasionally and break the fourth wall? We've had no real hints as to who this is. We've had no information that could even have us, postulate a hypothesis. Oh my God. Did I just say that out loud? Okay. Or even begin to formulate a hypothesis. Formulate a hypothesis. We have no relevant information other than she pops up and talks to the camera every now and then. Sadly, it's beginning to look like a lot of the leaks were true. So far, we've gotten now that Wells a sequel to Midnight. And I'm really hoping the one is complete bogus misinformation. And the one I heard, and the one you probably saw, it was leaked out on Reddit, was that the what do you call it? The Miss Flood's a bi-generation of the Ronnie. Like I said, I'm really hoping that's misinformation because please, the bi-generation thing, I didn't like it in the first place, but it's like, okay, I'll accept it. I'll get over it. Unlike Dump of the Doctor, Era of the Zygons, which I will never get over, and I can't figure out for the life of me how anyone watches that show with a serious face. But we must move onward. The 8th anniversary special, sorry, I know there's people complaining because you even saw that hint of a figure, which I believe was played by Paul Casey, because there was even a thing in the credits of some that which shall not be named or something. But what can you do? Like I said, you got to move on. I'm hoping we're going to start to get some more info as to what happened with Earth. I'd like to, at least get some hints about the villain. Because all they're doing is saying, oh, look, here's this character. Oh, look, here's this character. And they're not really giving us any hints who that character could be. And people are judging now by wardrobe. They're judging by some comment about Anita Dobson's waist that came up. And I'm like, because Kate Amara had a really skinny waist when she was the Ronnie. But his thing is, it's like, well, that's the thing. Also, why would the Ronnie be able to break the fourth wall? The Ronnie I'll, unless the Ronnie has found a way to play with reality as an experiment, I don't see how the character could be the Ronnie. And it's just kind of like not her MO. She's like, she wouldn't give a shit about the Doctor. She didn't in the first place. She got tired of being caught up in their feud, which she only appeared twice in the original series, in 2 serials, I mean. And that was, of course, Mark of the Ronnie and Time in the Ronnie. And of course, she's popped up here and there across various books, audio incarnations, and, between Big Finish and whatnot. But other than that, I don't know why it would be the Ronnie other than the fact to do fan service, and it's a character that RTD knows no one will guess easily. A lot of people are going, is it going to be Master again? I'm like, I'm really hoping not. We've already done the surprise trope. Chibnall did it brilliantly, and I'm dying laughing when you go back and watch that reaction. Oh, not already. It's like, guys, the Master popped up for how many seasons in a row back during the Third Doctor era? Sadly, before Roger Delgado passed away. So it's just called He Fooling You and You Don't Like It. Yeah, and the Cyber Masters. I think they had to call them Cyber Masters. That's right. Yeah, because, Cyber Lords, I think, might have been taken, and Time Masters was definitely taken by the DC universe. So they couldn't call them either of those. So what can we do? I'm really hoping we're going to start getting some more clues. I'm really hoping we're going to see some more clues about what happened with Earth. Because, you've had 3 pretty good stories so far, but you've done little to allude as to what happened, beforehand. What's going on the side. Yeah, Roger Delgado definitely had the charisma. He had the, he had the machismo. Come on, here's the Master who was sitting in a limo, chugging on a cigar, man. You're never going to see that again. Sure, he came up with some lame, names to disguise himself, like Colonel Masters, Magister. But, at least, John Saxon was original. I got to give him that. Oh, that's right. Please don't remind me. I was trying to forget that there was they were alluding to a musical episode this year, and it's like, I'm really hoping that does not happen because. Well, the Master was always a bit insane. After the Delgado era and all that. And I was really hoping that would point to the fact that look at what the Master's done. He went past the limit, and I was beginning to wonder, is that going to be a side effect of the 12er generation limit? And why it was imposed. Oh, God. The one I really felt. Hang on. Had a little dry spot in my throat. Who was the fellow who played the Master in Deadly Assassin? It was Pratt, I believe it was. I felt sorry for that guy. He was in that mask where he really couldn't do much. And he had Jeffrey Beavers later on. That's right. And then came Anthony Ainley. Peter Pratt, I want to say, and I'm probably got it wrong. Let me know. Well, the Master was already in Joker territory long before the Joker was the Joker. Well, then again, the Joker been around for a while. That's right. But yeah, of course, Derek Jacobi. Thank you very much. I was so glad we got a bit more of him later on in Big Finish. I've listened to a few of those, and oh god, he's just devilishly evil. Very insidious. You have to love, Derek Jacobi as the master. Yeah, Jeffrey Beavers, of course, has played the master on, of course, give me a Keeper of Trocken, and of course later on in Big Finish Audio, he's done an amazing job with that. Well, we're not sure what happened. I could have swore the master's wife got wiped out when the master recreated himself, but back in End of Time Part 1. But Mrs. Saxon. No. But what can you do? Like I said, it's a weird universe, Doctor Who, and people are like, but the master can't come back. We've seen the master come back from just about anything, okay? The master was probably the inspiration for like Jason Voorhees, okay, and Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, because the master, he always came back from everything. The master's been atomized, sucked into a black hole, torched, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he was separated into how many pieces like the key to time and shot off to different parts of the universe. The master would still come back in one form or another, whether it be male or female. But there has been rumors going around about a picture of Mrs. Flood with a gold tooth. So it wouldn't be surprising. But yeah, I'm at this age now where, like I said, I've just done how many days in a row at work, and then they expect you to just come back one day off and do it again. And that's the way it's going to be this week, because we're working right through Saturday this week, and it's like, I just physically can't do that shit anymore. It's, between arthritis and various other things, it's, ugh. And plus all the, the shenanigans that were going on this past Saturday. I guess I like, screw this. I'll get into some minor trouble. I'll get a slap on the wrist, and I get all my vacation days back in a month anyway. So, oh well. Well, Missy was starting to be good, but come on, the master was never, ever, ever going to be good. As you said, I can't do the Scottish accent for shit. Okay. No, I've not turned good. Yeah, ask anybody I know from Glasgow. Glaswegian, accents is not for me. But I hope you did enjoy that little snippet when that last, little kiss, you breathe goodbye on the way. I had to put that up. And of course, it was just before garbage day or around garbage day. That's why there was a bunch of clutter in there, because we were moving stuff around the garage. So that's why there's a bag there in the video and all that. Oh, well. Take care, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm either going to sack out or play Fallout 76 again. Who knows? I may even start writing again, because there's a bunch of story ideas buzzing around in my head that I just can't seem to put down. We'll all have to see. But enjoy the rest of your week. We'll catch you all tomorrow morning. We'll definitely be in the parking lot. So be kind, be calm, be safe. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everyone. Even though it's Monday, not all Mondays suck. Well, Mondays try not to suck, but take care, everyone.